Case Carsten, Africa Minerals Chief Operation Officer in Zimbabwe. Could you tell us a little bit about your background?
I'm 50 years old. Been mining in this country since my father died at the age of 16. Trained in South Africa as a mining engineer. I've worked in the corporate Rio Tinto, Lonra and Anglo Americas. One of my best achievements was the building of Sengwa Colliery, 6 months ahead of schedule and for half the budget. I've been on my own since 1993. I had my first gold mine, the midwinter mine, averaged 4.5 kilos a month. And after I sold midwinter, I moved into the Mount Darwin area, where I set up custom milling, and then discovered the Gloy mine, which is now one of AM's mines on option. I've also done a lot of consulting in the SADC, Tanzania, northern Mozambique, tantalite. My experience is a tantalite, gold and coal, and I've learned more in the recovery of these minerals, because for the last 18, 19 years I've had to pay my own school fees. And when you've got to meet your own deadlines, you make sure you get the recovery.
Okay. Could you tell us about the general mining opportunities in Zimbabwe, especially gold?
I believe Zimbabwe's mining opportunity is a very profitable one. Costs here are not yet in line with international costs. It's still cheaper here, I believe, especially labor compared to international. There are many things that have improved over the recent years. Our electricity supply has improved. The support network in the country has improved. The support infrastructure for mines has improved. This country went through a huge change in the past few years, a change for the better. The opportunities are there. It's the question of identifying and acquiring those opportunities. But it is very profitable. Yeah.
Yeah, and the number of opportunities compared to other countries in Africa, for example. How would you describe the difference between Africa mining opportunities or geological environment compared to Zimbabwe?
Zimbabwe is a bit of a virgin. I don't think she's been fully explored. She's got, ever since the gold price started increasing, gold has been emerging from all corners of the country. Corners that you never thought had gold has suddenly got gold. And it's a lot more developed in Zimbabwe compared to the rest of Africa. We have, I believe, the most developed medium and small scale mining sector in the entire Africa. And every mine, if it's clever, it starts as a small scale and it increases. You crawl before you run, you crawl before you walk. Now I've been in Tanzania, the Congo and Zambia and Malawi, Mozambique. They don't have a small and medium scale sector as developed as ours. And we have a network, electrical network, road network, far more developed than those. Our infrastructure has not crumbled as badly as countries to the north after they've gained independence and then spent 30 years crumbling. Ours has not. So it's a lot easier to get going here and a lot cheaper to get going. Opportunities are there, plenty.
When it comes to labor and availability of management and the level of education and work ethics, etc., could you tell us a little bit about that as well?
We have, and I I stand to correction, but I don't think I'm wrong. We've got the most literate labor, or the most literate people in the African continent, as far as English goes. Because our current president, when he came into power, one of the first things he did was educate, and we have an unlimited resource in labor. We have currently a situation where there's more people looking for work than the work available. So labor's not a problem. Labor certainly isn't a problem. And we have the most literate population in Africa.
Zimbabwe was earlier one of the largest gold producers in Africa, and then production declined. What happened and why, and what consequences did that get?
Zimbabwe, 1997, this government decided to start paying war veterans a substantial monthly pension. And it was a pension they could ill afford. Because of that, they had to start printing money. Because of that, the dollar started devaluing. Now it got to the stage where this government, particularly the financial side of the government, saw an opportunity in gold, which was they throttled back what we were being paid as gold producers. All our gold at that stage you could only sell to the Reserve Bank. And what the Reserve Bank did was throttle back. The Reserve Bank became the biggest gold buyer in the country. For example, in the earlier days of this recession period I'm talking about, we were getting perhaps 80% of the world price. The government would sell that gold on and live on the other 20%. They had started taking farms as part of a land resettlement thing, and the gross domestic product in this country had diminished, especially from farming, some from tourism. So they needed income, and the only way was to devalue the dollar, and another way was to pay us less for our gold, so they became the biggest gold buyers. Now this situation just got worse and worse and worse, to the point where in the late 2007, in some months we were getting less than 20% of international gold value. And there was a stance taken in the year 2007, late 2006, 2007, where mining companies, the bigger corporates, got together and just decided, that's it, we're going to stop production. It's just not viable anymore. To stay alive, you would have been forced to sell your gold on a black market. And ethically and morally, that was just not acceptable. And that's what destroyed us. That is what killed us.